Okay, let's talk about something that's, well, it's one of the toughest things we faced in pastoral care. That moment when you realize a student might be self-harming. It's a moment that demands clarity, compassion, and a real sense of confidence. And that's exactly what we're going to explore together today.
Our guide for this conversation is a resource from the Boarding House Micro CPD library. Honestly, the best way to think of it is as a field guide, a really practical framework that's been tested in real situations. It's designed to give you that immediate clarity, whether you're a brand new tutor or a seasoned house parent.
So let's not treat this like a formal lecture. Let's make it a guided conversation. This is a real chance for us to reflect on our own professional practice and, just think a bit more deeply about the young people in our care and the whole craft of residential education.
Now, the source gives us this really clear 11-point model. To make sense of it all, we're going to explore it in 3 distinct parts. First, we'll look at what happens in that immediate one-on-one moment. Then, we'll see how the wider school system kicks in. And finally, we'll zoom out to think about reflection and how we can build a more preventative culture.
Okay, let's dive right into this first circle. This is all about those first few minutes, when it's just you and a student who is clearly in distress. What you do in this moment, it really sets the tone for everything that comes next.
The framework couldn't be clearer on this. Step 1, your absolute first priority is always physical safety. Before you even think about the conversation, your job is to make sure that student is safe from any immediate harm. That means first aid, getting medical help, and, this is so important, staying with them. Your presence alone is the very first act of care.
And now for step 2, which is so interesting because it's about us. It's about emotional regulation. You see, the student is probably caught in a storm of shame or fear or panic. Your calm, steady, non-judgmental presence, that creates a safe harbor for them. So before you say a word, just take a breath. Your steadiness is the anchor they desperately need in that moment.
And when you're calm, it allows you to use step 3, the power of your words. The framework gives us some really helpful phrases like, I can see you're carrying a lot of pain right now. It validates their feeling without judging it. And just as importantly, it warns us about the words that can cause even more damage, like dismissing their action as just being for attention. The right words build bridges, the wrong ones build walls. All right, so let's move out to the second circle. This is where we see that really personal, one-on-one interaction connect with the school's wider safeguarding network. This is the moment where your individual care becomes a real team effort. Step 5 introduces what it calls the safeguarding lens. And this is a really critical distinction we have to make. Are we seeing a coping mechanism for overwhelming emotional pain, or are we seeing something that indicates an active risk to their life? Now, both need our full compassion, of course, but the answer completely changes the urgency and the nature of what we do next.
To make that assessment, the framework is very direct. It insists that we ask the question, just calmly, clearly, and without any fear in our voice, are you having any thoughts of ending your life? I know, that can feel like such a daunting question to ask, but being direct is the kindest and safest thing you can possibly do. It's how we know for sure.
And once you have that information, that's when you activate the support network. This isn't just about reporting up the chain. It's about building a team around this young person. The nurse, the house parent, the designated safeguarding lead, and, in line with policy, the parents. Everyone has a crucial role to play in this circle of care.
So the immediate crisis might have passed, but our care is far from over. These follow-up steps are absolutely vital. Recording the incident accurately, keeping an eye on the rest of the house for any ripple effects of anxiety, and making sure that a referral to counseling is made promptly. This is how we make sure that support is actually sustained over time. All right, let's zoom out one last time to our third and final circle. How do we shift from simply reacting to a crisis to proactively building a healthier, more supportive environment? And maybe just as importantly, how do we turn that lens back on ourselves and our own practice?
Step 9 is all about prevention. And look, this isn't just one person's job. This is about a whole cultural shift. It means embedding healthy coping strategies into the everyday life of the boarding house. It means doing regular, low-stakes emotional check-ins. And it means equipping every single member of staff with training like mental health first aid.
I want to pause here because this point is so important. We throw the word resilience around a lot in schools, right? But what do we really mean by it? This framework challenges us to stop thinking of resilience as just toughing it out or suppressing how you feel. Instead, true resilience is the skill of processing emotion in a healthy way. And that is a powerful, powerful distinction for all of us in our work. So, here's the crucial point. This entire 11-step framework, it doesn't just end with a procedure or a checklist. It ends with a question. A really powerful, personal question that's designed for our own professional reflection. It's a question to carry with us, back into the boarding house, long after this explainer is over. And here it is. Can I honestly distinguish between attention-seeking and a communication of need? It's such a challenge to our own assumptions, isn't it? The ones we might not even know we have. It asks us to look much deeper than the behavior we see on the surface.
And the framework gives us the answer we should always be striving for. Because ultimately, whether you want to call it a cry for attention or a communication of deep pain, they're both signals. They're signals that a young person needs our help, and both of them deserve our full compassion. And so the final, lingering question for every single one of us is this: does my response truly reflect that?